watching Sunday Sound Off with Frank Bull.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Sound Off. You get a chance to be part of the conversation on everything sports. Tweet us your questions and comments using hashtag Sunday Sound Off. I really don't have to remind you about that this Sunday. Let's introduce tonight's panel, of course, sitting in his favorite seat. I changed sides, by the way. Maybe we can change the Chiefs' luck. Grunhard, good Lord. Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB and the program every day from 10 till 2. Soren, how are you?
I'm doing well. I like this. I think we got a chance to have our best Sunday Sound-Off ever with Tim Grunhard involved. This is a promising beginning here.
Yeah, and Tim Grunhard, former Chiefs All-Pro center, and went to the Pro Bowl a few times. And Tim's afraid he'll never be invited back to Arrowhead if he really says what's on his mind tonight. Hi, Tim.
Oh, that hurt.
You won't need to shave either for a while. Okay, Blair Kirchhoff, of course, a fine columnist from the Kansas City Star. He always sort of brings us all back to earth, and he's the guy who calms the waters, as Bill Snyder used to say. Blair, how are you?
Doing great. Not much to talk about tonight.
Okay, gentlemen, here are our hot topics for the evening. How big of a problem is it when the players start questioning the offensive game plan? What's wrong with the red zone offense? Tim's got a lot to say about that. And number 3, is this Chiefs team good enough to win three playoff games in or on the road? And I'm stuttering and falling over something. But first, to our question of the week: is Andy Reid just good enough to break the fans' hearts?
Yeah.
Soren.
Frank, you're stuttering and falling over stuff just like the Chiefs today out at Arrowhead, so it fits with what we watched on the field. Look, is Andy Reid just good enough to get your heart broke? I mean, I think right now you'd have to say that the answer to that question for his career is yes, because he hasn't ever won the big Super Bowl trophy. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I think it's easy to say yes. Look, I think Andy Reid is a brilliant coach. I think he does a lot of things right, way more things right than he does wrong. But right now this team just took a big step back, and I don't think it's necessarily the time to sit back and say, oh, well, things are going to be okay, and, you know, look at how much better they are than this. Like, this is a year that everybody realizes everyone was pointing towards, that this was a team that was ready to go get it done, and this is a major step back, and this is a game you can't afford to drop, and you can't afford to drop it down 14. Look, they have left teams hanging around throughout the course of this year. Putting teams away has not been their strong point. They left Jacksonville hanging around. They left, so many teams that are just there by one score, and it finally bit them. So, they earned this loss. It could have been a different game beyond, and they might have won this game. What you hope is that this is the wake-up call. But, yeah, right now I think absolutely that's the answer with Andy Reid, which is still a lot better than most coaches that have coached in this league.
Tim, you have heard this statement before about a head coach.
Yes, I have, and it reminds me of a song. He's a mean one, Coach Reid. He stole the Grinch that stole the home playoff game. Now, of course, the Chiefs still have a chance to have a home playoff game and they can run the table and need some help from the Raiders if the Raiders lose. But, once again, I always talk about, going back to, I think it was the 1984 Chicago White Sox winning ugly. Well, when you win ugly, sometimes you have these games where you've got to put some stuff together. You can't rely on a special teams touchdown. You can't rely on a turnover pick six. You can't rely on some of those key things. You have to go as an offense in the second half, and you got to score points. When you go 3 games without a point in the second half, there's something seriously wrong. When you're not able to put together an adjustment or a halftime X's and O's session where you can come up with a couple of things and you got to target your best players. Find Kelsey, find Hill, find those guys, and that's why some of these guys are starting to question these plays, is because right now there is a reason to question them, because the main guys, your playmakers, aren't making plays because they're not getting the targets. If they're not getting the targets, they can't put points up on the board.
Blair, you were here when Marty was here for a little while, and what are your thoughts?
After last week, the win over Oakland, I was trying to find a case for Andy Reid as the AFC Coach of the Year, or the NFL Coach of the Year, maybe. The Chiefs have no chief coach has ever won that award, and I thought he'd had, just some terrific series of games with some decisions that he had made. I thought he totally outcoached Jack Del Rio in the Oakland win, but today was a head scratcher, and it was a tough loss, of course, for the Chiefs. Is he just good enough to break fans' heart? Absolutely, he is. But that makes him good. I mean, he's a very, very good coach. And if he doesn't get to a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, he will all he'll do is stand in line and join, everybody who's coached the Chiefs since Hank Stram not making it to the Super Bowl. I still think this is a team that's good enough to do it. And I know we're going to talk about it later in the show, but I absolutely think this is a team good enough to win 3 playoff games. I just hope they don't have to do it. I hope it's just 2 playoff games.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. Get a week off, get to rest up, and you get to play at home. Up next, our hot topics. You're watching Sunday Sound Off.